or conspire to interfere with another person's constitutional rights. If you're knowingly allowing this to happen and not doing anything about it, you're taking a non-citizen's vote and you're replacing an actual legal vote who has an American with constitutional rights. You're replacing their vote with a non-citizen ineligible vote. So we have some election-related news coming out of New Jersey. The DOJ, a few months back, sued New Jersey for access effectively to their voter rolls. New Jersey cited privacy concerns and refused to hand it over. So obviously, if they're filing this lawsuit, the DOJ likely has some amount of information that proves that to some degree, there are non-citizens or ineligible voters that are on these voter rolls and that have actually voted in the New Jersey elections. But according to New Jersey at the time, this was untrue or unfounded. Let's fast forward. So some few months go by, and the DOJ reminded them that it is a crime to intentionally allow ineligible persons to vote or conspire to interfere with another person's constitutional rights. So this is interesting. So clearly at this point, the DOJ is fairly confident that there is a bigger issue here. And however they're cross-referencing or where they're getting their data from, maybe they're checking social media, maybe they're going directly with information to New Jersey voting websites, checking a person's information to see if they voted, and they're showing up as obviously voting, and they're building a list from that manually. Because they're unable, obviously, to get the voter list from New Jersey, they're refusing to hand it over. So they've got to have a lot of confidence to issue this warning. But the second part is interesting. Or conspire to interfere with another person's constitutional rights. So what does that mean? It's actually very simple. The argument is that if you're knowingly allowing this to happen and not doing anything about it, then what you're actually doing is you're taking a non-citizen's vote and you're replacing an actual legal vote who has an American with constitutional rights. You're replacing their vote with a non-citizen ineligible vote. What does that mean? Well, it means now you've just voided that person's constitutional rights. Now their right to vote has been eroded and effectively disappeared because you've replaced it with someone else's vote that, for all we know, isn't even a person, and that could be part of a larger organized criminal network for whatever nefarious purposes they may have. Or it's as simple as a non-citizen registered to vote or didn't register to vote, and they actually voted. So when they actually vote, then you're talking about conspire to interfere with another person's constitutional rights. So let's go ahead and skip ahead. Trump went ahead and sent New Jersey a list of non-citizens that were on these voter rolls. Not only that, but they claimed that around 400 at the time of those had actually voted in New Jersey, past New Jersey elections. So let's see how she responds. Keep in mind, the next two videos I'm going to show you are from the same exact conference, but they say the exact opposite. So ready? Let's take a little gander here.
Let me be clear. Donald Trump has zero credibility on the issue of election integrity. For the past 10 years, he's cried wolf and peddled bizarre conspiracy theories about fraud with no evidence. I saw the consequences of Trump's lies on January 6th. I was in the Capitol when he and his followers tried to steal.
So obviously she's going on about nonsense here. It's got nothing to do with her being afraid or at the Capitol or whatever, January 6th, nothing to do with the fact that she is presiding over a state that has ineligible voters, non-citizens on her voter rolls that she hasn't cleaned, that her predecessor likely hasn't cleaned either, at least in full. Furthermore, she knows at this point that these people, these ineligible voters, these non-citizens that are on these voter rolls did in fact vote. Well, some of them at least did in fact vote. At least at this time, they knew around 400 had voted. So she's very aware that there are votes that have come through of actual voter fraud. Okay, this is voter fraud. This is election integrity right now that's at stake. She knows this, but she doesn't want to talk about it initially. She wants to start casting blame on people. Okay, so let's see what she goes and says later on.
Were asked if they wanted to register to vote. In the case of this error, some individuals indicated that they weren't citizens and weren't eligible to vote, but the software registered them anyway. The error in the software was corrected a year later in June of 2024. That is more than 2 years ago. I learned of this last Wednesday, and I immediately ordered my chief counsel to launch a comprehensive investigation.
Comprehensive investigation? You mean like the one the DOJ effectively asked you to hand over so they could do it for you? Now you're going to waste New Jersey taxpayer dollars to do the job the federal government literally handed you on a platter for free, but all you had to do was hand over your voter rolls so they could be cleaned. You could have the results. You could know the extent of the problem. The problem would be resolved before an election, but you didn't want that to happen. You fought tooth and nail to stop that from happening. She knew to some degree that something could be occurring, but she had no idea for sure because she wasn't doing anything about it. She blamed the prior administration. She basically blamed Governor Murphy from the last administration, saying that he had to do a patch, and the patch occurred, but clearly the patch has nothing to do with this because the problem persisted. If he went in there to handle a patch, obviously the patch didn't work and it was completely fruitless. The problem persisted. So now she's saying she only learned about it a few days ago. Okay, well, you've been here for basically 6 months and you haven't addressed the most basic issue of election integrity when it was brought to your attention via a lawsuit from the federal government. The DOJ sued you to release your voter rolls so that they could do the job that you're now directing someone else to do months later. Okay? She blames, by the way, the software company. Okay? Let's take a look at this next part.
Serious software error in New Jersey's motor vehicle system led to the improper voter registration of what we believe to be roughly 6,600 people in our state.
So now the video goes from this same conference goes from, oh, Donald Trump bad, he's got no proof of election fraud, to we literally have evidence of election fraud. The DOJ sued us months earlier to actually review this because clearly they had something. They gave you very big hints. They probably told her bluntly in court filings, likely during the lawsuit, that this was occurring, that they have a list that shows fraud was occurring. Yet she refused to even look into it, to even think about it. They sued you months ago and you only learned about this a few days ago? That's a bit odd. So you just ignored them the entire time and never looked into election integrity with midterms coming up, with elections coming up? Very interesting. So you just get in, and because you just got in, you don't want to worry about that? Or because you know something is probably wrong, but you just don't want to admit it. So now she has to state all this and walk it back because obviously she has some understanding of law, and the DOJ issued a very direct allegation that if she's involved in the cover-up of this, that they could potentially hold her criminally liable. So now she's walking it back. She goes from blaming Trump to, actually, yes, we have non-citizens on our voter rolls, and some have even voted. So obviously you're canceling out legitimate votes from legitimate Americans. And she does something a little bit interesting here. So now she blames the software vendor for this problem. Here's where our story closes up for now. There's no more news yet on this issue. We do know that potentially there's some hints that the non-citizen amount for New Jersey rolls have grown to tens of thousands. and that the vote tally has grown to thousands. But we don't know if there's a resolution yet of if she handed over the voter rolls yet to the federal government, or if she complied in the lawsuit yet, or whatever it may be. But she blames the software company. And you know what the software company comes out and says? Actually, no, it's not our fault. You guys give us the data. We don't do anything else with it. We don't modify the data. We don't change the data. We simply get the data you give us and effectively transfer and store it. So this whole time, she's blaming a prior administration, and now she's blaming the software vendor. She's blamed a patch that happened a year or 2 years ago, whatever it may be. And she's been sued months ago by the federal government to investigate this problem, to prove to them that there's no issues with the voter rolls. Clearly, not only did she prove nothing, but she refused to even investigate. Because if she even spent a second to investigate, she would see, wow, this person who is literally checked, I'm not a citizen, not only received a ballot, but some of them actually voted. So what happens to all those people that potentially received a ballot? Were those ballots actually used for other nefarious purposes? Were they still mailed in and counted, but with someone else's name on it? We don't know, because she never investigated. She never cared to investigate. Even though the federal government effectively handed to her on a silver platter saying, look, you've got problems. All you have to do is look at your voter rolls. If you did, and you ran a simple cross-reference to who's not a citizen and who actually voted, you'll actually see immediately proof of voter fraud. But she didn't want to do that. She wanted to cast blame and evade the problems and continue with TDS, blaming Trump for some random stuff related to January 6th that she felt. Nonsense. Well, there you go, folks. We know that voter fraud is obviously alive and well in New Jersey, and that the governor is clearly doing everything she can do to delay, and not fix the problem as much as possible. Let's hope that we find out why she's doing it, if she even knew a little bit about it, because at this point she's clearly been informed, both legally and politically. So we'll see. Maybe she has a change of heart and she releases the voter rolls to the DOJ, realizing that she could potentially be held criminally liable for some of this stuff. And maybe we get to actually find out, the American people for once, the extent of voter fraud. Even one vote, one ineligible vote, one illegal vote is enough to void someone's constitutional right. That is a vote too many. This is very easy to do. All you have to do is audit something you already have, your voter rolls. And yet you don't want to do that. Such an easy solution for what should not be a problem. It should be this issue of looking for non-citizens that literally wrote on the DMV, yes, I'm not a citizen, and then still were sent by the DMV a ballot and then voted. It's so easy to check that. The Trump administration doesn't have access to these voter rolls, and yet they were still able to push together all this information.
The imperial moderates shall rise. We will not yield.